All right, first thing I'd like you to do, and we're going to start to my left. And by the way, the seating arrangement has nothing to do whether you're farther right or left. And it depends on your perspective anyhow, because if you're in the audience, the people on the right are really on the left, and from up here, it's the reverse. So, and you're a moderate, you're in the middle, that's right. So at any rate, we want to start Senator Gilbert Baker. Would you just introduce yourself and just say hello?
Hello, Senator Gilbert Baker from Faulkner County.
Fred Ramey, I'm from Searcy.
I'm John Bozeman, Congressman from the 3rd District of Arkansas.
I'm Colonel Conrad Reynolds, and I live in Conway.
Jim Holt from Springdale, Arkansas. Morning, Kansas.
Kim Hendren from Spavinaw Creek in Benton County.
I'm Curtis Coleman from Little Rock, Arkansas. Randy Alexander from Springdale, Arkansas.
We have this hermetically sealed jar from Funkin' Waggles. These questions were submitted via email and from other folks across the state so that we could have a wide variety of questions that we could ask tonight that address a number of issues that we're facing at the national level as well as the state level. And so with no further ado, I'm going to go ahead and ask the first question. This question will be for Senator Gilbert Baker and Fred Ramey. How do you plan to participate in how the federal government interacts with the marketplace, specifically health care and student loans?
Well, to do all I can as a United States Senator to make sure the federal government doesn't interact. The federal government has shown a lot of inefficiencies when it comes to a multitude of programs, specifically Katrina cleanup, post office, to name a couple. And so when it comes to job creation in the marketplace, I think it's important as United States Senators that we back off the federal government, get the federal government out of the way so that entrepreneurs, business people, workers in the marketplace can prosper and do what Americans do best, and that is work hard, take risk, and have the opportunity to succeed.
All right, Fred Ramey.
Well, I don't believe that the government really should be involved in health care. Certainly the government has a role to play in many areas, but I don't believe that health care is one of them. Additionally, you tag on the end of that about the student loans. I understand that the student loan provision in the health care bill, that is very alarming to me that the government has taken that over. I understand that there's some maybe some cost benefit to that, but what alarms me about that the most is the ability for the government to have total control over the educational system through all the way through the funding. I believe that is another backdoor attempt to control what is taught, and to me that's very alarming. And I know that there's some that would say that that's beneficial to students cost-wise, but again, I don't think that's the original intent.
Okay, thank you, Fred. All right, our next question will be for...
May I make a suggestion?
Yes, sir.
That the people responding to your questions hold the microphone up closer to their mouth.
It's a great suggestion from a great American and a great Republican. All right. Okay. All right. Now, Congressman Bozeman. That's what I'm doing.
Okay, are we done?
Congressman Bozeman, you can now respond to that.
First of all, I voted against health care. The reason I did that was that you can't take $500 billion out of the Medicare system, add 30% more patients. Something's got to give, and that's going to be the quality of care for seniors. There's no ifs, ands, or buts. The other thing it does is it puts about $600 billion, $600 to $700 billion worth of new taxes on small business, big business too. You're seeing the write-offs that are coming out. AT&T has said they would have to write off $1 billion, so it's a bad deal. Now, the student loans, they nationalized that, and the reason that they did that was they get the money at about 2.6%. They're going to loan it for students. They're going to make the profit instead of the banks. They're dumping that back into the Treasury so that they can use that money to further social programs. So I'm very much opposed to that also.
Well, first off, there shouldn't have been a health care bill to vote on. And if Senator Lincoln hadn't voted, as we all know, in December, we would not have had that problem. Number one, as far as the student loans, I'll tell you this. It's a way for the government to pick winners and losers. That's what it boils down to, just like the stimulus bill was. And I, as your United States Senator, will fight that.
Okay, thank you. The next question then will be to Congressman Bozeman. Being a U.S. Senator allows one to become highly specialized on particular issues. We've seen it in our own delegation going back to through the decades. Besides the obvious, the rollback of Obamacare, Democrats' spending bills, and deficit, what areas of specialty will you pursue?
As far as committee work in doing those kind of things, I think that the three areas that I would really like to get interested in, two of them I'm very interested, well, I'm all interested in now. The VA, the Veterans Affairs, I'm a member of the VA committee now. We've got hundreds of thousands of veterans in our state. My dad did 20 years in the Air Force. I know how important that is to protect the things that were promised to our veterans, work with our VA hospitals and continue that service. The other thing is agriculture. I would like to be on the agricultural committee. I know how important that is. It's a major piece of our state as far as the economy. And then the third thing is transportation. I'm on the transportation committee now, and again, that's something where we can really help our state go forward.
I think there are two areas that I'm uniquely qualified that nobody else on this panel is. Number one, national security. I've been fighting terrorism since 1982. I've worked with every three-lettered agency in the Beltway. I know how the intelligence community works, and I understand the problems we have and what we need to do to keep this country safe. So I will try to be on the Senate Select Committee on Intelligence. I think that's the number one. Number two, as far as VA, there's nobody knows veterans issues any better than I do. I've been a 29-year veteran. I get TRICARE. I have two brothers that receive 100% disabled that receive VA benefits. There'll be nobody better than me to fight for veterans, and I promise you I will. I mean, you're the next United States Senator. Thank you.
All right. Senator Holt, you have 1 minute.
Well, it's a target-rich environment. One of the first things I'd like to see done is audit the Fed. The Federal Reserve is an entity that shouldn't even be in existence. It's been since 1913 in existence, signed in by Woodrow Wilson, and it has never been audited. That is inexcusable. Another one is balance the budget by fair tax, but not by growing taxes at all. We need to actually cut government and eliminate the waste of some of these federal programs we have, and I mean eliminate the programs. One of the things I'd like to see, obviously, is the Department of Education. But really, the thing that actually needs to be done the most, and I'd have to disagree a little bit here with Colonel Conrad, I was at the National Security Agency, and I'm actually very familiar with securing our nation. I was a Russian linguist and an analyst at NSA. Now, I'm not saying that I have exactly the same experience yet. We've actually chewed some of the same dirt, but I'm also qualified in that area. But one of the things is I need to be able to set up a system where you can go to the website and say, this is the bills that are coming up. It's natural for the federal government to progress. My job is going to make sure that I kill bad bills. They'll make me Dr. No again.
All right, Senator Hendrick.
Well, thank you. Veterans talk about combat and eating dirt and so forth. I've done it out here in the legislature for the past few years and on the school board and city council. I think that's a legitimate deal. Rolling back, you don't roll things back by just how you vote. You've got to get in the game. You've got to speak up. You've got to take a stand, and you've got to let people where you represent know what you're doing and what you believe back here. Specifically, what have I done? And I would do probably, you could probably expect me to do more of what I've done here if you send me to Washington. We have a new veterans home in Fayetteville for our veterans, nursing home. And I led the charge on that in Fayetteville as a member of the House of Representatives in Arkansas. We have a new medical school in Fayetteville. That's how you fix a health care problem in this state, rather than let the guys in Washington tell us how to do it. We're producing more nurses in the state of Arkansas. That's how you do. You increase the supply. With regards to Washington, this earmark business ought to stop. And our congressmen, we've got 6 of them up there now, not heard one of them stand up to take a stand. Let's stop it, cut the earmarks, let's cut them out, and let's stop these extraneous items in these bills where they put a bunch of pork in a bill, and if you vote for it, you're against veterans, or vote against it.